Hi, I'm Christina Gold, the co-chair of the El Camino College Academic Senate Course Management System Task Force. I've been teaching history online for about 7 or 8 years, and I sit on the Chancellor's Office Online Education Initiative Steering Committee. Pete Marcoux is the other co-chair of the task force and is our Academic Senate Vice President of Technology. Howard Story is our ECC DE coordinator and is also a member of the task force. The task force held 2 forums, one on the Compton campus and one on the ECC campus. This video is intended for faculty who did not attend the forum, and it is intended to inform them of the issues and the logistics. The Academic Senate created the task force in order for it to create or develop a recommendation regarding the current course management system and whether or not the campus should switch from etudes to Canvas. In the decision-making process, the ECC president makes the final decision. The task force advises the Academic Senate, which will make a recommendation to the Vice President of Academic Affairs. The Distance Education Advisory Committee makes a recommendation to the Director of Learning Resources, who then also makes a recommendation to the VPAA. Other groups that will weigh in on the decision are the ITS department, the DE department, students, and deans and administrators. However, the Chancellor's Office recommends that the decision be primarily based on faculty expertise through a recommendation by the Senate. And this, of course, is the purpose of our task force. The task force is working closely with the Distance Education Advisory Committee. In fact, several members of DEACS also sit on the task force. Both groups are gathering information, and the task force has taken the lead in the faculty forums, whereas DEAC has created surveys that will help inform the process. So you may be wondering why we are having this conversation in the first place. Many faculty members are perfectly satisfied with etudes. It works fine for them. Students like it. Everybody's comfortable with it. So why even have this conversation? Really, this is being driven from the top down, and as many conversations are driven, also by money. There was a significant allocation of money by the state to the community college system to help make more efficient and effective use of technology for student success. And there are 3 primary projects involved with these new initiatives: the Common Assessment, the Ed Planning, and the Online Education Initiative. But for our conversation today, we're really talking about the OEI, the Online Education Initiative, which is a collaborative effort amongst the community colleges to do exactly what you expect it would be created to do, to increase access and improve success in online courses. And also there is an emphasis on creating high-quality online courses as well. So when it comes to our campus can choose whether or not to participate in OEI. And there are a variety of different resources and platforms that we can or cannot participate in. You can kind of think about it like a menu of different options, and we can pick and choose how much we want to use of all of these things. So at the first level, the OEI is creating resources, and some of these are still in development, some of them they're still picking the company, some are fully up and ready to go and in the process of being used. These include things like proctoring services, plagiarism detection software, tutoring, and student readiness modules. So as a campus, we may decide we just want to use a couple of these resources, or we might want to use all of them. But then the next layer is using the resources and using Canvas as our college course management system. So if we were to use Canvas, many of those resources could be directly embedded into Canvas. And then at the third layer, the most involved campuses will be using the resources, using Canvas, and be participating in a course exchange. The course exchange allows students to seamlessly take online courses on any campus that is participating in the exchange. So the best way to understand it is from a student perspective, I think. So you have a student at El Camino College who wants to take an online History 102 course. And they go to register, but all of our courses are full. If we were participating in the exchange, they would then be directed to the exchange, and they could pick from open History 102 courses from across the state in colleges that are participating in the exchange. And at this point, the students' information, so if they decided I want to take that 102 course on another campus in Northern California, they would indicate their desire to register, and their information from CCC Apply would then be sent to that teaching college. So the college in which the student is taking the course is the teaching college. Our college, the college in which the student is registered, is the home college. So our student then would, and this would be going on behind the scenes, the student would not have to do anything in this step. The information would be sent from CCC Apply to the teaching college, which would then register the student and enroll them in the course. And then the student would be provided, would be told that they are enrolled and ready to go in the course. Our campus would be informed of the registration, and also when the student completed the course, the grades and the transcript information would automatically be sent back to our college. They are also working on financial aid and how this process can help ease financial aid issues for students that swirl between campuses. So in terms of apportionment, so who gets paid for that student? The teaching college would receive the apportionment for that course, for that student being enrolled in that course. So they'd get the money from the state for teaching that student. However, the home college, El Camino College, would get credit for whatever degree or certificate that student earned, even though they had taken this course on another campus. In order to participate in the exchange, a campus needs to be using Canvas as its course management system. In addition, the courses need to be approved. So there's an approval process where you would present your course and it would be reviewed, and if it needed a little bit of improvement, they would advise on improvement, and then it could be offered within the exchange. Obviously, there are some potential monetary implications for this. If we do not participate, students may choose other campuses so that they can be part of the exchange. Or if we do participate, maybe students may be taking more campus courses on other campuses. I think we need to be very cognizant of our participation in the exchange. Either way you slice it, though, or any way you slice it, it really does seem an advantage to students. So, what's happening on other campuses? 65 California community colleges are using or in the process of migrating to Canvas. There are 113 California community colleges across the state. So at this point, over half have migrated. 59 have migrated since June, and 6 were already using it. So campuses are adopting pretty quickly. 10 campuses have migrated from Etudes to Canvas, and a migration tool has been developed to assist in that process of migration. Now, this is a sample possible timeline. In meeting with ITS, Art Leibel, our director of ITS, came to our task force meeting, and technically Art is part of our task force. He recommended that we take a little extra time to implement. So we developed this possible timeline. This is not anything that anybody has approved. This is just to give you an idea of what it might look like in the transition. So for spring of 2016, that's now, we're using Etudes. If we were to make the decision this spring, then in the summer and the fall, ITS would be working on implementation, on getting Canvas up and running. Now, the Chancellor's Office says it can be done in 3 months. However, the director of ITS felt, I think wisely, that we would probably want some more time than that. So in the fall, implementation would be in place. We'd have Canvas training for staff and faculty, and eTudes would still be our primary platform. Following that, for 3 semesters, we would have both platforms available. The Chancellor's Office recommends 1 year, however, so 2 semesters. However, the task force felt that our faculty might be more comfortable with having more extended time period. So we can request of the Chancellor's Office an extra semester, and that doesn't seem to be a problem at this point. So in the spring then of 2017, a year from now, faculty could be using Canvas or eTudes. And then that would be the same in the fall of 2017 and in the spring of 2018. By fall of 2018, however, everybody would be using Canvas, and eTudes would no longer be available as a course management system, although we would have to work out some kind of access, because we need to maintain access to our student records, I believe, for about 2 years. So in our conversations with faculty and just in our conversations in the task force, this isn't an exhaustive list, it's just some of the primary reasons to switch to Canvas would be to participate in the course exchange. It clearly offers an advantage to our students as they're moving towards degrees and certificates. There may be some possible FTES benefits or apportionment benefits depending on how and whether or not we were to participate in the exchange. The OEI resources can be easily integrated into Canvas, so the proctoring, the tutoring, the student readiness, all of those things and others can be integrated in there. Also, there's Tier 1 tech support. The tech support is pretty terrific. You can call in and speak to people evenings, weekends, 24 hours a day. And the Chancellor's Office, this doesn't really affect faculty, but it makes life easy for other people on campus. The Chancellor's Office manages the contracts and the upgrades. It will be at low or no cost to colleges through 2018-19. It'll be free through 2018-19, and after that, they're hoping to continue it to be free, but they're not sure. It may be a low cost after that. There is an ease of use for adjunct faculty. If faculty, as it stands, faculty who teach online on different campuses are often using a variety of different systems. They might be using Blackboard one place, Moodle someplace else, eTudes somewhere else, and then every campus requires them to be trained on the platform. So for our faculty who move between campuses, the more of us that use Canvas, the better it is for them. And that includes our swirling students as well. We do have students that move back and forth between campuses, and this would make it easier for them as well. And also there is training through the Chancellor's Office through @ONE. We would, of course, have some local training as well. Some of the reasons to stay with the eTudes, most often I've heard faculty talk about simply the familiarity with eTudes. It's a system we've used for a long time, for years and years, and it's become second nature for faculty to use this system. And it takes time to learn something new, and they are curious about the compensation. Will there be any compensation for this? Will we get the support we need? Also, the DE staff would need to be retrained in Canvas, and many people speak very fondly of our relationship with eTudes as a company. They've been very responsive. People in particular are very committed to the head of the company, Vivi. Student evaluations, in addition, can be linked directly to the course sections. So when faculty are up for evaluation, those links and things can be put right into eTudes. Canvas can do this, but it's through a third-party tool. Also, if a instructor is working on different campuses that use eTudes, they can have one login that can be used across the different campuses. Now, some of the concerns about migration that have been expressed, I've already mentioned ITS felt that the timeline that's suggested by the Chancellor's Office is too quick. Also, I've mentioned faculty are concerned about the time and the training to get up to speed on Canvas, and what will the expectations be for training? Will there be any stipend? And also, how long are we going to have access to our eTudes gradebooks and course materials? So we want to hear from you. If you have any questions, please email myself or Pete Marcoux or Howard Story. If you have opinions you want to share about whether or not you think this is a good idea, please share them with us. The decision will be made by the beginning of May, or the recommendation by the Senate will be made by the beginning of May. So over the next week, the first week of April, the task force will be reconvening to develop its recommendation to go to the Senate. And then a couple weeks later, the Senate will have a first reading, and then in early May, it'll have a second reading and a vote. And then that recommendation will be presented to the VPAA, and then, of course, the decision will be made up there. All right, so please contact us with any questions and opinions, and thank you so much for listening. ECC has held 2 conferences in which Canvas has been presented and the functions of Canvas have been presented, at the DE conference and at the technology conference. So here I'm not going to walk you through all of the strengths and weaknesses of Canvas because I am not an expert in Canvas. However, I have used it for the past couple semesters, and I of course authenticate my students through eTudes, which we must do in order to meet state and federal requirements. But then once students enter into eTudes, there is some work there, but they can proceed into Canvas. So what I will do is just show you some of the things I like about Canvas. I teach history, so obviously I can't demonstrate the math functions, but I hear from math faculty they do like those functions. Some of the things I like is I do like the calendar. On the calendar, students can see all of their upcoming work, so their due dates all appear here. And if students are taking different courses in Canvas, all of the courses will appear here on their calendar so they can see when the work is due for each of their classes, and there is a legend, and the courses appear in different colors. For faculty, now we can easily move course due dates. I can put little reminders here to students, but also if I want to move the due date for the week 9 test here, I just drag it on over somewhere else, and it changes it in every other instance in the program. So it's very easy to use, and it's also easy for me to eyeball to make sure everything is set up correctly. Okay, another aspect of Canvas that I particularly like is the ease of embedding videos and media. You can, through Canvas, create your own media, your own videos. So they have a function where the video is recorded directly and saved on Canvas. So you don't have to use QuickTime or YouTube or any of those other things many of us use, like I'm using to make this video today. You can just record it directly onto Canvas. So here is one of the weekly pages for my class, and in this case I have put it on YouTube, and you can see it pops right up, and you can use the closed captioning. You can bring in things that are already posted on YouTube easily, and it's just convenient for students. They can either watch it here or they can go to the website. Another thing I particularly like about Canvas is the threading of discussions. This is something that can't be done in eTudes that makes discussions really difficult in a class like mine where discussions are a significant portion of the grade. Students can't see easily, and neither can I, who is talking to whom. So the general model for many classes is that questions will be presented and students need to develop an answer to those questions, and in Canvas and on other platforms, you can make it so that the student doesn't see everybody else's posts until they've posted their answer to the question. So they can't read everybody else's, then put their answer. So they kind of have to put themselves out there. And then once they put that initial post, like this one, up there, then they can begin to respond to other students. So I like the way you can just see when you go to what they call the speed grader, you can just see that student's posts. You can grade it with a rubric. You can add comments. I'll show you some other aspects of this in a second. I can also go and see this students with comments within the full group discussion. So if I want to see, okay, well, who is this student actually talking to and responding to, I can just scroll down here and look for my student. So here's my student, and here's her comment, and I can see who she was responding to and what the other students were saying as well. And then finally, probably for me, my favorite part of Canvas is the grading of papers. This makes grading papers so much easier. When I've graded on other platforms, students need to upload a file, a doc file or a pages file or a PDF, and then I have to download it, put it on my hard drive, put my editing on that document, resave it, and then upload it again. I don't like loading all that stuff on my hard drive, and it also is a really time-consuming process. In Canvas, with this CrocDoc tool will take the documents and automatically open them within Canvas. So if I want to open the file, I can go over here and actually open it up in my Word program and do it the old school way, or I can do my grading here. And the feedback I can provide in a rubric form if I like, and the students can see the longer description of each section of the rubric, and I can personalize some comments and then give them a grade on each section. And then I can add just general comments here. Also, a feature I particularly like is that I can speak directly to students. So I can speak to them through Adobe Flash Player, and what this does is creates a little video that is stored on the Canvas site, and the student can view it, and I can speak directly to them. So they see me talking to them, and it really personalizes the course. And the student then can also talk to me back, so I can see my students. And so with this function, I'm able to have conversations with my students about their work. If I'm having a bad hair day, I can just use the speech function. Also, I can directly comment on their work within the text as well. So I can write on here, I can highlight portions of the text, I can strike out, I can add bubble comments, which I think a lot of us are really familiar with. Or I can directly put text within here. All right, so those are just a few of the aspects of Canvas that I particularly like.